Hey guys, it's your girl Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm putting together a mani today for a very special occasion, but it does involve the use of black dip powder and chrome powder. So I figured I would take this opportunity to go ahead and demo this mani for you so I could share some tips and tricks for working with black dip powder, as well as how to create some very simple art using chrome. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then stick around, we're getting into it. Alright guys, so the special occasion is today is Logan's birthday, and Logan is the owner of Vivid Glam Co. So my fellow Vivid Glam Co ambassadors and I, or the Glam Girls as we become known, decided to get together and put together a little collab just to show her how much we appreciate her. So everybody's kind of doing something in cheetah print, and that's what I'm going to be doing with these items here today. So Logan, if you're watching, happy birthday, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of your amazing team. You guys, I feel so spoiled to be on the Glam Girl squad. It's such a lovely group of women, so talented, and I love being part of her brand, of course, because I love all of her products anyway. But she's just such a kind human being on top of that. She's very generous, very thoughtful, and really puts her love into everything that she creates. So it is such a joy to get to represent her brand. With each new release, I feel like she's really becoming that one-stop shop. I don't know if you saw, but pretty soon she's going to be releasing builder gel as well as some other fun items that are coming up. And guys, did you see the preview photos of her fall collection? What? Dying over that collection, literally dying. I can't wait to get it. And of course, you can expect a video on that collection for sure. So for the collab, all of us were creating something with cheetah print. So I thought this would be a fun time to kind of recreate the vibe of the actual logo itself. So that's why I'm showing you the jar here as inspiration. Now, this is not at all going to be an exact representation. It's more of like the vibe. But I thought it would be really fun and a good excuse to play with Little Black Dress, which I haven't actually used for you guys in video yet. So Little Black Dress is our solid black dip, and it's a great one, you guys. So if you're looking for a good solid black dip powder, highly recommend this one. And of course, you can use my code CARRIE10 to get 10% off that and anything else at Vivid Glam Co. So this is the only dip powder we're going to be using today. So I'm going to be applying this, and as we go through, I will kind of give you some tips and tricks for how to work with black dip powder so that you can make nice, clean looking and smooth looking black nails. All right, so that's just one part of the logo. So obviously we're going to need some gold. So I'm going to be bringing in her chrome powder, which is C9, the crown. And this is a nice true yellow gold. And I know I've told you guys before, but really I think these are the best chrome powders I have ever used in the game. If you need some mirror chromes in whatever color, because she has tons of colors of these now, you really got to try these. These are such good quality, and they make the beautiful chrome finish that everybody really wants. So that's really all we're going to need for our mani today, although I am going to add in a little bit of striping decals. So I've got the gold iGel Beauty striping decals that I will be using as well, but those are just for a little accent. Really the main focus here is going to be the black dip powder and the gold chrome. Alright guys, so before we get started, if you're wondering about the mani on my right hand, that is the mani I did for my review of the Azure Beauty Dip Powder Kit, which is available on Amazon. That was a very interesting try on there. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go check it out. I will have it linked for you in the cards. And yeah, I know we're kind of all over the place here. My videos are a bit out of order. Just bear with me. That's just the way it goes sometimes. All right, let's get those nails dipped. So I'm going to go ahead and put Little Black Dress into a cupcake liner. And like I said, as we go, I'm going to talk you through some tips and tricks that I have come across for how to work with black dip powder. So of course, I'm going to be using my Vivid Glam glue and activate today. And then I will be finishing with some gels at the end just to give it a really nice shine. So just about anybody who asks is going to probably tell you that the most difficult dip powder colors to work with are white and black. And that would include me, guys. Which kind of sucks because they're definitely two of my favorite nail colors. But the fact of the matter is they're just typically a bit more difficult to work with. They can kind of patch out a little bit. The black especially can stain. So, you know, it's one of those things that it's just kind of a known fact. So my first tip is going to sound pretty dumb, but hear me out. You really need to find a good quality black dip powder. And let me tell you guys, I have tried so many black dip powders, and I'm very particular with them. And of all the ones I've tried, there's probably only 3 that I would recommend, and they are all just a little bit different. So this one is probably my ultimate recommendation. I'll tell you about the other 2 as well, but this one in particular I think is just probably the best I have in my collection, just because it is so finely milled. I feel like it's a true rich black, and it's very minimal staining. I'm not going to tell you it's no staining, but it's very minimal. So of the 3 I'm going to tell you, this is probably my top pick, but the other 2 that I can recommend to you are Ritzy Dips Vanta. That is a very good one as well. I feel like it's pretty comparable to this one, but I feel like this one is just a little blacker, and I really do like a true rich black, you know, not an off black. But on that note, the 3rd one I would recommend is Cascade Colorworks Onyx, but that one is not really a true black. It's more of an off black. Now it's pretty convincing once you get the top coat on, but I would still pick the Vivid Glam Co Little Black Dress over the other 2, but those 3 are all black dip powders that I would recommend that won't make you actually have a panic attack trying to use them. My next tip is all about the right prep. So you really want to set yourself up for success. So I would suggest using a moderate to slower drying liquid. This is more moderate. I wouldn't really call it slow, but of the ones that I use regularly, this is the slowest of those. So this one is really good to use with a black dip powder like this, because it gives me time to clean up around the cuticles really well, because you're going to want to make sure that you clean up very carefully as you go through each dip, because that's where you can avoid a lot of the problems right from the start. Of course, you're also going to need some kind of cuticle tool. I'm using the precision tool. That's a really great one, but any cuticle tool, just something to clean those up. And then finally, I would say be prepared not to rush. Don't sit down with this mani and think you're just going to rush through it and get it done. If you know you're going to be using black dip powder or white dip powder, mentally prepare yourself by just saying, I'm going to go through this slowly and carefully, and I'm going to clear out a lot of time just so that I give myself a little bit of extra time to work. And I promise, even just doing those things right there will make your mani so much better. So that was just one dip, guys, and look at the great coverage on that. But I think you can see that what I'm doing now is, after I've brushed off the nails, I'm kind of going back through a little bit and seeing if I see any areas where I kind of need to scrub off a little bit there with my cuticle tool. In other words, do I have any little pieces that are kind of like stuck in the cuticle area that I can get off now so that I don't have to worry about it later? So it's just kind of like a second pass through to see if I need to clean anything else up. All right, so we're going to do the exact same process on the second dip, and I think you can kind of see how careful I am to apply this liquid. Now, sometimes if I'm using a lighter dip powder or something that's just not very staining, I kind of slop it a little bit. I'm not quite as neat and careful. When I'm doing black dip powder, I am very careful to get that as clean as I can around the sidewalls and the cuticle area. Like I said, just take your time. That's really like where the best setup for success is going to come from. I think you can see here we're getting a little bit of staining on the brush the more we brush through it. That's pretty normal when you have a really good pigmented black like this one. So what I will do is just kind of wipe the brush off on that lint-free wipe there before I put it back in the bottle to try to get most of that off before we move on. Now, dipping into a liner or in a pot is definitely my preferred way of applying dip powder, but if you're finding you're having trouble getting nice even layers, you definitely could pour over as well. That's another option for you. And some people find they have less issues with the actual application if they pour over, so it's worth trying. All right, I'm going to go ahead and speed through the rest of this second layer because that's all we're going to need is 2 layers. And I did want to mention that the pinky is going to end up being chrome, so you might be wondering, why am I bothering with applying anything to it at all? You actually don't have to, because these chromes are so pigmented, you don't really need a background color. It's more like, since I'm already putting dip powder on the other ones, I just want to have even layers. I don't want to have, you know, 1 thinner nail and 3 thicker nails. I want them to all be about the same thickness, so that's the reason why I'm doing that. And it doesn't hurt, you know, to have something in the background of the chrome, even though this is a really pigmented chrome. All right, second layer is done. You can see that we have absolutely full coverage now. And if we take a closer look at the cuticle area, you can see it looks pretty good. I'm not going to tell you it's perfect, but it's pretty good. And what minimal staining you are seeing on the skin is not actually stained. Once I actually go clean these up and rinse my hands off, that won't be there anymore. But, you know, just even those little small steps go a long way in making a clean cuticle line. Now I'm just kind of going back through again one last time to see if I see anything that needs to be kind of picked off. But pretty much from this point on, we're going to use some other tips to clean up what little there is that needs cleaning up. All right, the next tip comes with the activator. So typically when I activate my nails, I just slop it on there. I don't care where it goes. I don't care if it gets on my skin. None of that's going to hurt me. But when you're working with something super pigmented, whether it's black or like a dark navy blue or a dark forest green, anything that's really dark and could stain, the last thing that you want to do is get careless with the activator, because it's just going to take those bits that are in the cuticle and sidewall area and just anchor them down. So that's just going to make it even harder to remove those portions that you don't want there. So this is one of those times where I'm being very careful to apply the activator only along the nail and carefully along the sidewalls and cuticle area, so that any bits that I still want to get off don't get kind of stuck down to the nail. All right, not too bad. We definitely have some cleanup to do here, but even just taking those small steps to really slow down and set yourself up for success can go such a long way in making clean and pretty black nails. So from this point on, there's a couple of tools that we can use to really help clean up the rest of this. So the first one is obviously going to be your stiff scrubby brush. Now I've already activated these, so I'm not really going to bother with this right now. But once I go do my shape cleanup, this is when I kind of like to wash my hands over the sink with Dawn dish liquid and scrub it with this brush as I go. So I find that gets the rest of the little bits in the cuticle out just with those things. And now some people will say, don't you wash your hands with soap. I've been doing that for eons now, guys. I haven't had any problems with my dip powder coming off prematurely. So just saying, I do. If you don't want to use dish soap, you don't have to. You can just use a scrubby brush, but I find that really helps after I file and buff to go over it with some water and that stiff brush. The other thing I'm showing you here is my glass pusher, and that's another good one to get in there with the sidewalls and cuticle area to clean up any bits that might still be stuck in there after cleaning up. You can do this dry, but you can also do this after you wash off your hands. You're washing off that excess dust that you just did with the filing and buffing. You can go in then while it's still a little damp, and that can help get it out pretty easily too. All right, so I did go do all that off camera, and so I'm just kind of cleaning these up here, wiping these down again with alcohol. And you can see these are probably about 90% of the way there. We're gonna get the other 10%, but you're gonna have to wait till the end of the video for that. But all things said, I really feel like even if this was the best that it was gonna get, I feel like these look pretty great. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the chrome and the chrome nail art. I forgot, I lied. I'm gonna slap these sticker decals on first, because I'm gonna go ahead and finish those two nails by top coating them with the gel. And I like to put these stickers on before I do that. I like to put these on the dry, activated, and finished dip powder. All right, decals are on, and I went ahead and finished top coating those all the way, just because that way I don't have to worry about contaminating that with any kind of chrome while I'm doing the chrome powder. All right, so I'm going to be doing my pinky nail, which is going to be our party pinky first. That's going to be the full chrome nail. So I went ahead and put a layer of gel base on there, and now I'm putting my layer of no cleanse top coat on there. I have 3 different videos on chrome nails, some of which include some of these Vivid Glam Co powders. So I'm not going to beat this process to death here, but I will tell you that I'm putting on this no cleanse top coat. I flash cure it for 8 to 10 seconds, and then I rub the chrome powder right in. So you don't want to fully cure this, otherwise the chrome powder is not going to stick to it. You can of course use a gel base, or you can use a gel color polish, but nothing gives the smooth mirror-like shine quite like the no cleanse top coat, so that is what I would recommend. And then of course you're going to need to seal that chrome in with another layer of the no cleanse top coat, and this time of course you'll be fully curing it. All right, so I'm going to be moving on to the chrome nail art, and I wanted to demo this technique for you because it's definitely a backwards way of doing chrome nail art, but it's super simple. So you can use it with a lot of different designs. There are a few limitations, but most designs you could pull this off with. So we're actually going to start by doing the exact same thing we just did to the pinky, but not finishing with the top coat. So I'm actually going to put down the layer of gel base and cure it, and then the no cleanse top coat, flash cure it, and rub the chrome over the entire nail, just like we already did with the other nail. All right, so I randomly grabbed the Cactus Jelly Plus from Painted Desert. I don't know why, I was just sitting nearby. I was like, this will work just fine. Really a better choice would have been to get a true clear builder gel. So that is what I'm recommending to you if you do want to try this particular art technique, whether it's this design or really any chrome design. But you're going to want something that is more of like a builder gel consistency rather than just say a gel base coat or a gel top coat. You need something that's going to kind of hold its shape a little bit better, because we're going to actually keep the design in some places by using this medium. So you're going to need something a little bit thicker that doesn't spread out or level quite as fast. All right, so I have picked up some of that builder gel-ish kind of product on this dotting tool. Again, a clear builder gel would be a better choice. I don't know why I just took the lazy method out. Shouldn't have done that. But what I'm doing here is making those little kind of small leopard print or cheetah print patterns. Now, it didn't come out quite as cleanly as I would have liked, probably for a couple of reasons. For one, I made them very small to kind of fit several like rows of them in there. And because of that, you know, the design didn't come out quite as clean and quite as detailed and crisp as I would have liked. So I could have avoided that by either, like I said, using a true thick builder gel, or I could have just made the actual design elements a little bit bigger, and that would have helped to kind of make it more of a crisp design. But in any case, I still wanted to show this to you because I imagine the possibilities are literally endless for doing chrome nail art this way. You're just going to have to think about how you're going to do it backwards. But basically, whatever you put this builder gel-like product on, that's what's going to stay, because then we're going to wipe the rest off. You're going to see it's actually really easy and really fun. So I'm actually kind of doing like a half cutout of a heart design, so it kind of mimics what's on the jar. It would have been cool to do maybe like 2 halves of the heart, but I cannot pose this left hand to do that right, so it would have been kind of pointless. She wouldn't have been able to see the effect anyway. But just kind of trying to do a nod to the brand with this kind of, you know, catching the vibe of the jar lid itself. Now I know it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing because I am using a clear product over this chrome, but like I said, I'm really just making those little kind of abstracty cheetah print little like squiggles on the nail. And like I said, once I wipe it off, you'll be able to see a little bit better what I was doing. All right, so we laid out our artwork with our clear builder gel-like product. We fully cured that, and now we're actually going to finish the design. So we're actually going to take a lint-free wipe and some alcohol, and we're just going to start wiping the nail. So what this is doing is this is removing the rest of the chrome off the nail except where we have the builder gel-like product. That design is going to stay because it's protecting the chrome on the nail. Everything else was not covered by any kind of top coat or builder gel product, so that's coming off. Now it does take a little bit of elbow grease because, you know, it's on there, you still have to wipe it off, but just wet the wipe with alcohol and just keep rubbing, and eventually everything but what the design that you laid down on the nail is going to come off. So that's it. Pretty cool, right? And pretty easy to do, and definitely caught the vibe here of the jar. And what I like about this is because if you were going to do this traditional, you would do your black dip powder, but then you'd have to dry out all those squiggly lines with your gel product. Then you would have to rub in the chrome, and then you would have to carefully kind of top coat it over top of those individual little squiggly lines again. Just a lot more work than this method. Imagine all the fun designs you could do with that for Halloween, right? All right, I'm going to give you my last tip now for a black dip powder. Now hear me out. After you finish your mani, go take a shower or go take a bath. I know, weird tip, right? But see, now that your mani is done, if you go take a bath and soak in the tub, or you go take a quick shower, those little bits of dip powder that are still probably hanging around in your cuticle area and your sidewalls, they're going to get washed clean. And you can even take it a step further, and once you get out of the tub, if you still see some bits, you can take your glass pusher or some kind of other cuticle tool and kind of scrub those out, because they'll come out so easily because you've been soaking them in water. I don't ever photograph black nails the day I do the mani. For that reason, I will always take a shower or a bath and then photograph them the next day, because they will just look that much prettier the next day after I've cleaned those last remaining bits out. So I actually filmed this after the next day, and I don't know how much you'll be able to see it on video, but you can definitely see it in still photos. We have now nice, crisp black nails with clean cuticle lines and sidewalls, and I'm loving the branding inspired nail art. So we're going to go ahead and finish up here with some cuticle oil. So I'm using Scales of a Mermaid here in Morning Pick Me Up. I don't use this one enough, and I'm such a fan of this just because I love coffee, and this smells just like a fresh cup of coffee. You gotta love that. As always, guys, you can use code CARRY10 at Vivid Glam Co and at Scales of a Mermaid, and you can get 10% off your purchases at both of those places. All right, so that's the nails all finished. So I hope you guys like my Vivid Glam Co inspired nail art, and I hope you found these tips on applying black dip powder helpful. Let me know if you guys have tried this kind of reverse chrome nail art technique, because I really do feel like the possibilities are pretty much endless. And if you guys have a favorite black dip powder as well, I would love to hear that in the comments. I love how we help each other out by sharing our own experiences. And I will tell you that back in the day, I used to recommend a very big name black dip powder, but I have found that as I've branched out and tried small business black dip powders, I've really found some gems that kind of put that one to shame. I really do think Little Black Dress is a great black dip powder. So like I said, if you're looking for a good staple black, I would highly recommend this one. Alright guys, so that is going to complete this video. So I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, it would help me out so much if you would give me a thumbs up down below. And while you're there, if you have not subscribed already, I hope you will consider subscribing before you go. And don't forget the notification bell. We got new content coming every Tuesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Central. So as always, guys, I thank you so much for taking time of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate it so much. I love you to pieces, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.